teammate Sophie Cunningham, who got a black belt in Taekwondo at the age of 6. She's like, I will F you guys up. All of it's great, and Caitlyn's a killer. 10 out of 10.
This might just be the moment the WNBA finally snapped. Rumors are flying all over the place. Jacy Sheldon and Marina Mabrey have officially been suspended after that vicious attack on Caitlin Clark. Fans watched it go down in real time, an eye poke, a hard shove, zero protection for the league's biggest star. But here's the twist, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has finally decided to open her eyes. After staying radio silent for what felt like forever, she's suddenly stepping in to fix the chaos. And trust me, the refs' report on the incident, it's even uglier than we thought. Why now? Was it the fan backlash, the media pressure, or did the league realize it had to do something before this all exploded even further? Either way, people are already calling it too little too late. That's the wild part. Caitlin Clark had to take a beating on national television before the league decided to jump in and issue some suspensions.
And what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on Jacy towards the end?
It was a flagrant foul.
You think it's like defending Caitlin or defending the team, or how do you view just how it opened?
I view it as a flagrant foul.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys came for basketball.
Yeah,
Let's talk about basketball.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Feels like they're just trying to say, oops, our bad, and move on. Let's rewind for a second. Fourth quarter, game on the line, emotions running hot. Caitlin's cutting through the lane like she always does, eyes up, reading the defense, and then boom. Out of nowhere, Sheldon swipes her hand right across Caitlin's face. You could see Caitlin's flinch instantly as she grabbed at her eye. And this wasn't just some accidental contact. There was zero attempt to go for the ball. It was personal. Then, as if that wasn't enough, Sheldon decides to chest up and give Caitlin a hard bump for good measure. Ball wasn't even in play anymore. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, here comes Marina Mabrey like she's making a tackle in the NFL, shoving Caitlin straight into the referee. That should have been an instant flagrant 2. But nope. Somehow Caitlin ended up with a technical for just trying to protect herself. That's where the game went completely off the rails, all because the officials failed to make the right call. And let's talk about those calls. The league itself admitted Sheldon wound up, hit Caitlin in the face, created serious potential for injury, the very definition of a flagrant 2, and they only gave her a flagrant 1. Then Mabrey's shove after the whistle? Caitlin went flying into a ref, holding her eye, and they decided it didn't rise to the level of an ejection. I mean, what would have risen to the level of an ejection? Would someone have to send Caitlin to the hospital before they do something? Break a bone? Break a ref's knee? Because that almost happened too. And if that wasn't ridiculous enough, Caitlin, the one who took all this abuse, was the one who picked up a tech. Make it make sense. This wasn't just sloppy officiating, this was dangerous. The refs lost control of the game and everyone could see it. By the time the final whistle blew, the internet was on fire. Clips were everywhere, slow-mo replays, close-ups of the eye poke, freeze frames of that shove. Fans weren't just upset, they were furious. Casual viewers, diehard WNBA followers, even NBA players were all asking the same thing. Why is nobody protecting Caitlin Clark? And this wasn't even the first time. Ever since Caitlin set foot in this league, she's been getting hacked, targeted, trash-talked, and up until now, crickets. But this time was different. This time, the world saw it up close, and they weren't going to let it slide. Even sports shows picked it up. Before long, the WNBA couldn't stay quiet anymore. They had to do something. That's when they finally dropped the hammer, suspending Sheldon and Mabrey. But let's be real, if the internet hadn't erupted, if the fans hadn't been this loud and this mad, would anything have happened at all? Or would this just have been another ugly incident brushed under the rug? And through it all, where was Cathy Engelbert? Where was the one person who's supposed to lead this league through these kinds of crises? Silence. No statement. Nothing. Caitlin Clark takes an elbow to the face, gets slammed to the floor, and the commissioner is nowhere to be found like she was on vacation. While the league was burning to the ground, Cathy was asleep at the wheel. But as soon as social media erupted after ESPN ran that eye poke on repeat, after fans started chanting "Protect Clark" suddenly, Cathy wakes up. Suddenly she's acting like she cares. Now she's making statements, pulling footage, handing out suspensions. But where was all that energy when it mattered most? It honestly feels less like leadership and more like a firefighter showing up to douse flames she allowed to spread for way too long. This isn't true leadership, it's pure PR panic. The fans see right through it. The players do too. And let's be real, Caitlin probably rolled her eyes reading that polished statement. So here's the real question. Does Cathy actually care? Or is this just a rushed cover-up for a mess she failed to prevent? And then there's Sophie Cunningham, the only one who actually stepped up, because while the refs refused to protect Caitlin, and the league kept snoozing, Sophie decided enough was enough. Late in the game, she went straight at Sheldon, and I mean straight at her. It wasn't dirty, it wasn't reckless, it was a loud, clear message. If you mess with Caitlin, you mess with me. Sure, Sophie got tossed, but let's be honest, she earned her stripes that night. She did exactly what a good teammate is supposed to do, have her sister's back. And funny enough, after that, nobody dared lay another finger on Caitlin for the rest of the game. Sometimes you need someone to draw the line, and Sophie did it with a bold, permanent marker. Is she the hero of this story? That's up for debate. But she sure as hell wasn't the villain. And this whole ugly incident, it's a wake-up call not just for the refs, but for the entire WNBA. Because if you can't protect your biggest star, then what are we even doing here? Caitlin Clark isn't just some player, she's the reason arenas are packed, why jerseys are selling like crazy, why ratings are soaring. She's changing the league, and yet somehow they let her get treated like a punching bag. And this isn't about favoritism, it's about basic safety. It's about respect, it's about keeping the game clean and fair. Right now, the league's entire reputation is on the line. So what happens next? Do they finally take a player protection seriously, or is this just another scandal that fades as soon as the next game tips off? Let me say this loud and clear, the fans aren't stupid. They saw the eye poke, they saw the shove. They watched the refs do nothing until the internet exploded, and only then did the league scramble to look like they care. And fans are making sure they're heard. Protect Clark is trending. People are boycotting games. Comment sections are blowing up. And this isn't just Caitlin's fan base, this is league-wide. Even fans of opposing teams are saying this went too far, because at the end of the day, everyone agrees on one thing. The best players deserve a fair, safe game. You can play tough, you can play physical, but going after someone's face and tackling players when the ball's nowhere in sight, that's not basketball, that's nonsense. And fans are demanding better. And here's the nightmare scenario. What if the league doesn't learn? What if the next time Caitlin hits the court, she's hacked again? What if we see another cheap shot, another ref who looks the other way? Eventually, Caitlin's going to say enough. And don't forget, Caitlin has options. Overseas leagues, endorsements. She doesn't need the WNBA as much as the WNBA needs her. If she ever decided to walk away, the league would lose ticket sales, viewership, relevance, all of it. And that's the point. This is so much bigger than one player. It's about every kid who looks up to Caitlin and wonders, is this really what happens to the stars in this league? This wasn't just a suspension. It wasn't just another rough game. This was a turning point, a moment that could shape the future of the entire WNBA. Caitlin Clark, the face of the next generation, got flat out assaulted on live TV. Sophie Cunningham had to jump in because nobody else would. The refs lost control, the league freaked out, and the fans, well, they sure as hell let their voices be heard. This incident exposed everything that's been bubbling under the surface for way too long. Weak officiating, radio silence from the top, and the flat-out disrespect aimed at the one player who's bringing more eyes and dollars to this league than we've ever seen. But maybe, just maybe, this is the wake-up call the WNBA needed. Maybe now the refs will actually do their jobs. Maybe now the league will realize you can't let your top talent get jumped and expect it to be okay. Because you cannot grow this sport while letting your biggest draw get hit in the face, shoved to the floor, and blamed for it. And there you have it. If this whole disaster doesn't scream do better, I don't know what does. The WNBA just got caught sleeping at the wheel again. Caitlin Clark took the hits, the refs ignored it, and Kathy only acted after the entire world called her out. That's not leadership. That's damage control with a fake sense of urgency. But here's the thing, fans aren't dumb. They see right through it. If this league really wants to grow, if it actually wants respect, it cannot keep treating its biggest star like she's expendable. So maybe this is the breaking point. Maybe this is where the WNBA finally wakes up for real. And if not, don't be surprised when the fans, the sponsors, and maybe even Caitlin Clark herself say enough is enough. Now, let me hear from you. Do you think these suspensions were real accountability? Or was this just one big PR move to put out the fire? Drop your thoughts in the comments.